that y'all do, and even acting like you missed me when I was gone. And thank you to all of those that didn't get to go. They're behind us, came in the gold shirts tonight, and I think we have one or two more around maybe, but we need a whole section of gold shirts in this church. So step up, and there's a lot of ways to serve, which I'll try to throw out to you, some of those maybe along toward the last. DR is sort of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I was first initially called down to, first of all, this call out was after the ice storm. Thank God we didn't get it here again. How many of you were here in 2009? So you kind of know a lot of what it looked like down there. It was very similar. Several of them without power at least a week. Several also at least 2 weeks. That's always challenging. So, but anyway, I was called to Delhi as an assessor initially, and they had lots of jobs, and then things kind of changed along the way. Anyway, I helped assess for 1 day, and then they were all done. I mean, that's how good we are. I said, we have like 600 work orders, and we got in. Another gentleman and I went out that I've known him a long time. We've worked together here from Missouri, and we go back in at the end of Monday, and we said, well, how many more tomorrow? And they're like what? Some had been given to another location for them to handle. Some people had come in that they didn't realize were coming, so we had more help. And there was a team there from Missouri that was doing chainsaw, so we stepped in with them and worked the rest of the week at Delhi doing chainsaw or dragging branches, more or less. A lot of this, it's the tops of the trees, the ends of the limbs that are broken off, and not a lot of cutting needed, thankfully, because we have a skid steer available, at least most of the time. Anyway, I tried not to put too many piles of limbs because to you all they get to looking a lot alike, but a few stories I want to try to share as much as I can about the people. I didn't get pictures, unfortunately, the first week with really the homeowners. Several were not home. This is one of the first jobs that I got to help with. This was out in the country. Helps if you turn this thing on, for one thing. All right, see if I can do better than last time. Yeah, there's a real story behind this one. Try to make it short. Sometimes those phones don't work very good on the maps and telling you where you're supposed to be going. Well, that happens to us too, and we were trying to find this one location and ended up out somewhere, and it says you have arrived. We're on a gravel road by this point, and there's no house, it's only a field. And at that point I said, I'm not saying another word. So our leader in the other vehicle said, well, let's just go to the next one. He pulls out the work order, gives us the address, and so we take off. I'm riding with Tim, the skid steer guy, and so we get to a T and hang a right. I'm going, Tim, this says dead end. If you've ever driven one of these, he has a very, very long trailer, and you don't turn that thing around just anywhere. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be great. So we get down, sure enough, the road stops at this house. Really can't see the road anymore, and besides, there's a tractor across right in front of you. And so there's an older gentleman and a young man standing out in the yard, and Tim says, well, I'll just get out and talk to them. And they're standing there looking at this tree and saying, they're wanting it put on a trailer to haul to Grandpa's house, and they're trying to figure out how in the world to do that. Well, we need a place to turn around, and this guy needs help. We decided this was God ordained. God sent us there. And so we ended up helping that individual. That tree was so big that we had to cut some of it off for him to even be able to pick it up with the skid steer. And let me tell you, that thing could pick up some stuff. They were just overjoyed. He ended up the grandpa called his son, who actually lived at the place, and he made it there before we left, and he was just so grateful. Oh, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? We would have never, we were trying to figure out how in the world to do this. So suffice it to say, we just felt like that was a God thing, as we sometimes say, that he took us down there. He cleared out a little bit, and we just circled the yard and took off back down the road, and finally found somewhere where we were supposed to be, I think. That was the log that he picked up and stuck on a little short trailer, and then he says, can you pile some more of that on there? We don't know if he made it to his house with that thing before the trailer fell apart or not. But I felt like that was a very good witness to those people. This is probably the next place we went. I don't know if you can tell much, but there's a big limb broken off of that tree, and it's laying over in where the chicken coop is. And so it's gone. Tim picked it up and stuck it back there at the back. We did some more cleaning around the front yard. The man that lived here had back surgery about 3 weeks ago, so he just really wasn't able to do a whole lot. And so we helped them out. This is the church we stayed at in Delhi, First Baptist Church. Excuse me. This was one house we went to at the back. Had some limbs hanging over on the roof, and we got those all cleaned off among some other things in the yard. Those people were not home, so I didn't get to meet them. This is another spot. Actually, it was Alan Isgrig and I that got to go out and assess on Monday. This was a place that we went to and assessed. A lovely lady whose name is Connie. She had stomach cancer, had stomach cancer. Just kind of needed to tell her stories. We probably spent, 30 minutes or an hour there that day that we were there to assess, and just her telling her story. They'd given her a 1% chance of living, and that was several years ago. So she had beat that, had another issue later, and was telling us how that had all worked out. So she was still going. Lived there by herself, had some neighbors around, I think, that would come. They were coming to help, but just a lovely lady. Had been a teacher, so we had a little connection, and but just a real time of ministry. This was right behind her house, as you see all the limbs split down, and I hope this next one works. He's pulling that down. Get you a little action here. And we did manage to get those down and out without smashing the shed behind. That's the trick. So so there you have a little bit of us at work, and a lot of others in the yard. So we didn't quite finish that day, and she kept talking and said, "Hey, I want to do something for you. Let me fix breakfast for you in the morning." So finally our leader said, okay. And so we got back the next morning, finished up the work, and she had breakfast ready for us, and that's on her back porch. And it was a lovely morning. As you can see, we're all in just our short sleeves pretty much, and enjoyed a nice breakfast on her back porch there. Connie, that's her. She loves to talk. You can tell she's got the hands going, and she's telling us all about it. This was front yard in another spot, stuff just everywhere. I'm going to move on. If you look all the way back, straight back in the middle, and there's a gentleman in a wheelchair, power wheelchair. He had been a highway patrolman, had lost some of both of his legs due to diabetes, and so they just weren't able to do anything. So we cleaned up the front yard and some in the back, and just a great time to minister to him. And there's all cleaned up. So there you get an after picture. This is another lady. She had gone to church, I believe, at First Baptist in Delhi, where we were staying. We found many of these, including Connie and this lady. I don't remember this lady's name, but they were living on places that had been in the family for generations. At least their grandparents, many of them had lived there, and she told about when her parents both passed away, and they decided to move back to that place, and so she had moved back there. She was then by herself and had a huge backyard. So we just helped clean up more of what hadn't been done. And she was cooking a meal. She said, "You smell the food," says, "We're having a meal for a gentleman at church on Sunday." And so she was getting ready for that. She plays the piano, went back to her home church where she grew up now, since she lived way out in the country. And so many of them that we met were Christians, serving the Lord, doing all that they could do still, and just a joy, such a pleasure. And I thought I'd share some beauty with you. I believe this was the lot beside the Methodist church there in town. So we do what we can to help fellow churches out, and they had quite the mess on that vacant lot next to their church, and we helped to get that cleaned up. Well, that's not a real mess. So on Saturday, 3 of us, that's Alan, I believe, and myself and Tim were already planning, and we went to West Monroe, Louisiana on Saturday to meet our team, who, we kind of call our team, well, I call it my team, Tom's team originally, and he's kind of handed it off just a little bit, but he's still part of it when he gets his legs back under him. So in West Monroe, what's in West Monroe? Duck Dynasty. We were about 4 blocks from their store, and so we paid a little visit there on Saturday. Yeah, I never watched it a whole lot, but you got to go there if you're there. So they had this little setup outside, and there you could get your picture taken. So that was that. Now we're in West Monroe, on week 2. We're at the home of Connor and Sammy Valentine, which this wasn't too long after Valentine's Day, so that was fitting. A young couple, probably early 20s. They had been out doing a lot of work around the place already, as most of the people had. Young Christian couple. I knocked on the door at one point. You could see in. It was a glassed room, kind of a sunroom area at the back, and to ask them to move their truck. And when I did, I looked in and I saw the young lady, Bible open, doing her Bible study. That is awesome. brain dead didn't get any pictures of them, but as you see, there's a nice pond out there. Tom, this should look very familiar to us. We've cut some other pine trees floating in the lake or the pond behind the house. So their thought was, we're going to cut the big chunk out that we can, and then see if Tim can pull it out of the lake. By the way, there were 3 trees in the lake. So they're trying to hook on a chain, and it's just as soggy as can be. I don't know if you could see. If you look down at the bottom right corner, you can see the muddy water floating the root wad just about. So they tried to hook on. Well, it didn't move. We decided we'd get him out of there before we lost him in the pond. A little something that Alan did to leave for them. So that just shows where it was, mess cleaned up down there, but we had to leave the big part of the trees. Let me tell you a little bit before I talk about this one, a little bit more about Connor and Sammy. This place was right beside their grandma's place, which you'll see in just a little bit, and I'll have quite a bit to tell you about that. They are involved in leading a class for nearly newlyweds. They have about 20 couples in there, I think, they said. And they're leading a class for those that are going to be married soon. And so they're both teachers. Connor said that his mom was a teacher and his dad was an engineer. Well, Connor's brother, Carson, was there, pulled up while we were there helping, and he said, well, he's following Dad. Dad's an engineer. Carson's graduating high school this year, going to be planning to go to school to be an engineer, but Connor had followed his mom, and he's a teacher, football coach, and his wife's also, I think she's a 4th grade teacher. So just a sweet, wonderful couple. This was a little lady that just not able to take care of things. We did more of the old-time way this time of cut and drag. So I got my exercise. This was a pretty flat yard, so that's a good thing. But we had to kind of cut what we could and drag it out to the street. The lady in the middle, it was her house, and the lady in the green is her sister. She had gone to get her sister before the ice storm to bring her there so they could be together and weather the storm. So she was still there with her, both of them using a walker, so can't do much in the yard. I'll back up and tell you, that's Tim on the right with the beard, our blue hat, Larry, and a guy that's probably about his 2nd trip with us, I think, that he's ever done. Gary, the tall guy with the cap on in the back, and that's Alan on the left at the back in that picture.
She's wearing a Awana shirt.
That's true. A Awana shirt he mentioned. Yep. So yes, is active at her church, I'm sure. And the lady in the gold there, that's Doris. So this is a trailer again, one of those that she, when her dad passed away, she moved to that place and just not able to take care of all the stuff. So we worked on her yard. You see the before and there's the after. To give you a little idea, we like to not got away from her that weekend or that evening. She needed to talk. Just a lovely, sweet lady, and so we helped her out. Her name's Angela, I believe. By the way, I somewhere about day 2 or 3 at West Monroe, I said, I've got to get these names down. I'm going to have to talk about some of this. So this is Grandma's house next to Cotter. As you see, a very nice place. Her husband was a surgeon. I'll tell you more about it, but he was a surgeon. She'd already paid somebody to do a lot of the work right there that you see. It's all clear from there to the front of the house, but there was still stuff everywhere. A lot of woods, pine trees, and you know those don't take the ice very well. So there's a little bit of the before. Just going to try to rearrange. There's some more before, and then I think I have afters to eventually. There's a little bit, I mean, just a lot of grab, and he had to weave through the trees, and that's a challenge, real challenge. So this is Miss Carol. She's in the front, and that's the grandson that arrived next door the day before, or whenever it was. That's Carson. And so we got there that morning, and she went in and woke him up. Said, "Get out here and help them." And he did. So we always, as many of you know, we try to pray with the people if they're there, and we give them a Bible that we've all signed, and they have that to remember us by. Tim and I played tag, and I would take a picture, and then he'd tell me to get in the picture. So there you go. I really was there. So that's kind of the after of cleaning up part of it, and that other pile you see, that all got cleaned up. To the back there on the right was a hothouse that she had, and it was glass and heated, and she had all of her plants, I think, that she had set out in the summer and hanging out places, and well, they were all dead, and glass all busted out of that, but yeah. She had, we were trying to get done by, I think, 1 or 1:30. The garden club ladies were coming for a meeting. And you could tell that she loved to do things in the yard. And she was out there helping some too. She's, I think, 84. She was out there right in the middle of it for a while. But then she had to go get ready for the meeting. She said, they had a speaker coming, and she said, "I hope they tell us how to recoup our plants after all of this damage." A little more of the beauty. Camellias? Camellias. There's my flower lady. I have to consult with her. So just a lot of beauty. This is CP. He was right out there working with us too, and he said if the doctor knew what all I was doing, I'd be in trouble. I think I may have put the other, okay, there's with me in the picture. You see the golf cart back there. He was tooling around the yard on his golf cart, and I wish I'd have gotten it. You can't really see. He had a rope attached to it and a little skid made with a big, heavy tarp type thing, and he'd put limbs on that and then haul it up to the pile and unload them, go back for some more. Some of you maybe know, I don't know, the land does not drain down there. It rained on Saturday, and this is Tuesday, and his yard was sloped, and it was still muddy. Well, I don't know why I didn't get a picture of it. It would have been classic. But he got his golf cart stuck while we were there. I mean, he had that thing buried. We are blessed with having headphones that we can communicate with him and the skid steer and with each other and so forth. And I had some on that day. And I said, "Hey, Tim, I think you're going to have to pull CP out. He got his golf cart stuck." So it might be a first, a skid steer saved the golf cart. Anyway, we did quite a bit at the back of his house too. This is a little beauty. I just have to share some flowers with you and some of the good stuff on the trip. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you more about CP's wife. Don't let me forget. This place, that's, by the way, the landowner out there, the homeowner. That's Wayne. And he had lots of trouble breathing, but once again, he's out there. When we got there, he had his little electric chainsaw. He'd been out there, and this was quite a slope. You can maybe tell a little bit. I'm telling you, it was steep. Thank goodness we were dragging the limbs downhill, but then you had to still walk back uphill. But he's out there right in the middle of it. He had most of those cut to size where we could drag them down. He had pretty much all of it done already. Tim worked out in the back, and we worked on the slope, the rest of us, and got that all cleaned up for him. That's Wayne on the left. His wife was gone at the time, but she pulled in about the time we were walking down the driveway to leave. Anyway, backyard's all cleaned up. They had flowers. They had crepe myrtles, forsythia, planted everywhere, even out there in that woods. Just a beautiful place. They care about what their places look like. And again, a lovely Christian couple, and so very appreciative. The guy in the blue is Tommy. So, you know, we kind of had your namesake there, Tom. Anyway, he was from, we stayed at McClendon Baptist Church in West Monroe. He was from that church, so a volunteer for us. He worked 2 days. He could work till noon with us, and then on Friday he worked all day with us. So he got his work out, but his help was very much appreciated. This is Dorothy, and that's the other young lady in the gray sweatshirt, lives with her. I think had some special needs, and she said we just all help each other out. The young lady is Stephanie, and I believe her husband is David, and they all live there. We helped clean up the backyard. They'd been out working diligently. Neighbors next to them, which Dorothy said they just moved in there not long ago, and said they've been over here helping us like crazy. So we just took the piles they made and got them put back at the back for them, basically. She's going to be 90 in September, and said she retired about 3 years ago. I think had worked at Safeway, and whatever Safeway sold out and became over the years. I don't know how many years she worked, but so we got an opportunity to share the Lord with them and minister and help them out. So the absolute biggest, anybody know what that is? That's right, crepe myrtle, biggest crepe myrtle I ever saw in my life. I mean, no kidding. It was like that. This place belongs to Ray and Lou, who you will see in just a few minutes. Again, an older couple, and he has developed CMT disease. I had to look that up. You can too, CMT, and really inhibits his ability to get around. But they were out there, you know, checking out things with us, but just couldn't do a whole lot. So we got that all cleaned up. And that is not their house. That's his barn or whatever out back, which they told me had a bathroom of its own in it. So this is the crew at their house as we finished up, and yes, that's another camellia tree or bush or whatever you call it. And the lady in the middle, in the brown, that's Lou, and her husband has the cane there, that's Ray. And then the other gentleman, I forgot his name, but that is her brother, and he lives with them as well, so helping them out. Trying to look at my notes and see all that. This place belonged to Bruce. He was at work that day, so we called him, and he came and just showed us where a few things were. Whole front yard just littered with pine limbs, and so that's already been cleaned up at that point. The neighborhood dog, or we're not sure, but anyway, the dog came over. Long story short, took them just a little bit, but they made friends with her. She turned out to be a very, very good dog. She would have played for hours, I think. she grabbed a pine cone and brought it over to Doris and dropped it at her feet. It was all over after that. So she's, I mean, like she put her hand out one time to maybe get the pine cone, and she stuck a paw up there. We were like, yeah, this dog is not just a stray. But anyway, the dog was really enjoying it, had a great time, and we got the yard all finished up. And the dog wanted to go home with us, so it's following down the street. And Doris goes, it was whining the whole way. Yeah, Alan found him his chair. What is it? Yep, a wheelbarrow. Had that thing rocked back. Anyway, we have a good time. We work hard, but we have a good laughs. Just a lot to share with one another. This place belongs to Richard and Connie. Again, I said we had several this time that we had to drag the limbs out of the backyard to the front, and that was just soaking wet through there. We could have gotten a skid steer back there, but the yard would have been trashed. So we just dragged it all to the front and helped them out. And this is on his carport, actually. His wife wasn't home, but the gentleman in the gray in the middle was Richard. And that's about all. I went brain dead on Friday. I don't know, I think I was tired or something. It didn't take a picture one, I don't think, on Friday. I don't know. But several of those were not home that we worked on Friday, our last day. This is where we stayed, McClendon Baptist Church, large church there. That's the church itself and what's right behind it, and then off to the left and kind of to the back is where we stayed in the student center. They were very, very, very nice to us. And I don't know, they'd been there 3 or 4 weeks, kind of taking up their spots. And so very, very accommodating. I thought I'd show you a little bit of all that it takes, if some of you may or may not have seen some of this sometimes. That was actually the command center. A lot of times it's in a room in the church, but this time they had a whole big trailer. You walked up the ramp there that's down and actually had a door you open and go in, and there's all the rows of computers of all the things they're keeping up with, the jobs and all the equipment and et cetera, that has to go on. The trailer on the left over there is, it was labeled asset protection. I didn't figure that out for a couple of days. I saw some people running around with these extra vest from the rest of us had asset protection, and I was finally like, Missouri, I don't believe has that as far as one of the ways you could serve, but they were there to guard and look out for vehicles and all the things that were out there and just protect for the week and for the time that we were there. I saw them late one evening. They came in the building, walked the halls, just making sure everything is okay. So, and that's a little bit more of it. That was the shower trailer. There was another shower trailer over to the right. We had our Missouri ADA. Yes, ADA trailer for handicapped. It was there as well. And so just a lot of our, we give, and somebody has to pull that down there. When I got up to leave, they were shutting the whole operation down on that Saturday morning that I left, that we left. And when I got out to put some things in my car at, 7 o'clock, that trailer of ours was already gone. I thought, wonder who came and got that at goodness knows what time. So there's a lot goes on. That tan is a big generator that was pulled in there. It was helping run all all of that stuff. And I wanted to put this in. I wish I should have zoomed in on it, but this was I tried to reposition, but this was actually a place we went the last day in Delhi. It's too bad you can't read it. We went to Transylvania. And it has a nice symbol on it. So you can look up Water Tower, Transylvania, Louisiana. Promise we didn't make that up. So, all right. On Friday, that last day there, we made a pit stop at a little convenience. Yeah, there you go. I figured he could do that. How'd you like that? Oh, man. We made a pit stop on Friday, and I told you I'd tell you a little bit more about CP. So we're in there, and I'm like, well, hey, there's CP. And we'd helped him 3 days before. It's like you're old friends now, you know. And so I started back out the door in just a few minutes, and he was standing there kind of waiting. He said, hey, my wife's over there in the car. You might want to talk to her. We didn't get to see her when we were at the house. And so we got to meet CP's wife and talk with her. And she's the one that's, I don't know if I mentioned, she's had bone cancer, is in remission, but just not getting around too good. He said, we just don't get to go to church as much as we'd like to. But it was a pleasure to actually get to meet her and talk with her just a few minutes. We had just finished a house that the lady had called her dad to come meet us. And we kind of waited around there, and finally he shows up. Well, come to find out, he had to drive an hour to come over there and meet us. I thought, goodness gracious, she was working, couldn't leave. But she had gotten off work, and she was trying to get to the house to get there before we left. And we had just left her house, again, at the convenience store, same convenience store. She pulls in the parking lot. So you just never know. You know, God, I think, just puts all of those little things together and just blesses us as well as hopefully and I think we are a big blessing to them. Our theme in DR is to bring help, hope, and healing. And a lot of them, they look out and they're just like, they just don't know how in the world they're ever going to clean up their yard. And they care about their yards. And so we give them hope, and they're like, oh, thank goodness, somebody came. So, questions? How large were the towns? Ah, well, she's asked questions. I don't remember. Delhi was not too much bigger than Donovan, I think. I'd have to look it up again. West Monroe is right there beside Monroe, and it's pretty good town, maybe a little bigger. Well, it's bigger than Poplar Bluff, I think. So, yeah, it was pretty good sized town there. Anybody else?
Do you just carry a sleeping bag with you from church to church?
Yes, basically. We have cots, a lot of us, or we have air mattresses. We're too old to sleep with just a sleeping bag, but yeah, you take all of your bedding, take clothes. Let me tell you some of the things. There's laundry usually when we have a big event like this. There's a laundry trailer there. There are people trained. That's one of the jobs that you could do. You could help with laundry. And initially, sometimes it's for the residents of the community. They were without power a week or 2 weeks. They may need laundry done. And then it turns into they're helping us do our laundry from all our work clothes when we go out. The shower trailers, those are cleaned after each person takes a shower. Those shower trailers are cleaned. That particular shower stall is cleaned and ready for somebody else. Cooks that take care of us and feed us. And they, by the way, we have big units that go out when these initial things happen. And that often feed thousands of meals to those in the communities. So there's a lot of cooking that goes on as well.
Does the Red Cross supply meals there like they did when they came here?
I have no idea. We were there 2 to 3 weeks after, so I don't know. I would suspect Red Cross might have been there, that they sometimes, I think, supply the food and then we prepare it maybe. That's what happened here years back. So I don't know. I wasn't there at that point of that operation. Yeah. No, they weren't there anywhere that I saw.
Do these places have addresses? Like, remember when the town flooded and the Red Cross was trying to deliver meals? And they were like, you people don't have addresses.
Were you here then?
Yes.
She got the pleasure of working. She was our secretary when we had our flood, and they were here. We had all the whole operation and going on. She said, do they supply addresses? Well, yes, to the best of their ability. And we did pretty good, other than there was a couple of times we didn't find them, but God ordained that we'd be at the dead end road and help those people. So I was going to tell you more about, a little bit more about the doctor, Connie, and them. They had a big home, as you could see, but I think they had given that home to the Lord. He was a deacon in the church and had just said, this home will be available for weddings and et cetera, to be used by the community. So that may have been, they knew they were blessed, and they gave that as kind of their offering to the Lord. And he prayed with his patients before surgeries, and so he, at about 76, I think she said a little bit before that, he began to get dementia, had to retire at 76, and shortly thereafter, he sat down with his daughter and kind of did his autobiography, and she gave each of us a book. And just a neat, very neat memento for us, and a little bit of his life. He served in the military for a while, and then came back and ended up, again, as I said, being a surgeon. But just quite a neat story, and something I'll cherish from that trip. Any more questions?
Did you get any crawfish or boudin?
No. We were too busy working. We were too far north for the real Cajun stuff, I think. So she asked, did we get any crawfish or something else? I don't even know how to say it.
Did you meet Miss Kay?
Miss Kay?
She doesn't watch Dine
Oh, no. I didn't really watch it.
we can introduce you to Miss Kay. There she sits right there.
There you go.
Can I make a little plug?
Absolutely.
Our church's first love mission is what we gather all year long. And this year our goal is 6,000. Oh, no.
Everybody wants to hear you.
Is our goal this year for First Love is $6,000. And out of that, DR is one of those things that we try to serve. When they have needs, we want to make sure that we're there to help them. And they're volunteers, and so the personal cost they have, it's out of their pocket. So we try to help with that. And as she said, she'd like to see a whole roll of yellow. We will pay for your training. We will buy your first T-shirt. I'll buy you a second one too if you need it. But we help with that, and that all comes out of First Love. And so think about donating regularly to that's our big church mission fund right there. We use that to help many different areas. And like when they had the Kentucky storms, we got, I think it was propane tanks for Kentucky that we sent. And so we join in with a lot of different areas that are in need, and that comes out of that fund. And so think about giving to that regularly.
There are 2 training events coming up. They are a little bit farther away, but don't wait until all the way a whole year from now, or whenever it is that one's a little bit closer. If you want to be a part of this, see Tom or one of us, Sarah or Lita, and get on board. It's a great way to give. Tom, you have anything I need to add? Don't think you're going to get out of this. All right, Brother Monty.
Let Anita fool
Thank you.
you. She was really at home in Transylvania. She said she felt very comfortable there, just like she fit in part of for sharing. Thank you for going. I know, David, you're going, yes. David Crawford signed up. That's just, when is that? That's just here pretty soon. This month, isn't it? In just a couple of weeks. This Friday and Saturday. So it's really soon. But anyway, thank you for signing up. And again, as it was mentioned, if you want to go, you can get the training. Our church will pay for that. And then make certain you have the platform. And we do try to give, every time they go, we try to give them something. My desire as their pastors, if they're willing to go, they shouldn't have to pay a penny out of their pocket to go. That would be my goal. Sometimes they're stubborn, come from Transylvania or something, don't want to take it. But anyway, but we'll close in a word of prayer, all right? And again, thank you so much. Yes?
I think at Delhi, there were at least 4 salvations.
Awesome.
At least one, I believe, at West Monroe. So
Awesome. Father, again, we come before you. We thank you. We praise you. We love you. Thank you for disaster relief. Thank you for putting that into the heart of Southern Baptists that they serve all over our country. The second largest disaster relief entity in the world is the way that I understand it, based primarily on by volunteers. We thank you and praise you for that. Continue to help us do our part here at our church to help meet these needs and to basically bring honor and glory to you. Father, again, we thank you for Christ. We praise you for him. We ask it in his